As great as the 7 world major marathons are, they're not for everyone. They're usually expensive to get into or difficult to qualify for, and the sheer amount of people just isn't everybody's bag, and we get that. And there are so many amazing marathons out there, so Mary and I sat down and we started planning for a marathon life after the majors, because sometimes the best races aren't the ones that everyone talks about. So you've seen us go through highs and lows over the past few years during a marathon, and here's where we want to put ourselves out there over the next few years.
So here's the thing. About a year ago, I made a video, and the video was the 10 non-major marathons that perhaps you could run in 2025. And here's the list here. I'm going to put it here. And as you can see, some of the races that I put up there are now a major marathon. Sydney, Cape Town potentially is going to be one in 2026. And some of the other races, I think, decent, but what I want to do in this video is I want to give you 10 more that you could potentially run in 2026. And the reason I've picked the marathons that I've picked for this video is a little bit from the interaction that I had in the last video. Why haven't you mentioned this race? And there were recurring themes. Also, some friends or people from the Messap community have gone out and run these marathons and have spoken really highly about them. And I want to give you 10 on top of the 10, so you've got a lot of choices to look for in 2026. And there is always going to be races left out. Yeah, I do get that, and I know that, and it's probably going to wind some people up. So let me know if I've missed out a race that you love, what I should have put into this video. Let's get started. And we're going to start not in Japan, because I think the great thing about Japan is it has so many marathons. It's a nation obsessed with running, but I think that means that some of the rest of Asia doesn't really get a look in. Whereas, did you know that Seoul Marathon is the second oldest marathon in the world that's been continuously run, second only to Boston? So on the 15th of March, we're going to start with Seoul Marathon. So South Korea is a country that we haven't been to yet. We're very excited to eventually go. I'm excited about seeing the city. And Seoul Marathon is in the South Korean winter stroke spring, so just coming out of it. So you'd be pleased to know that the average temperatures there are like 6 degrees Celsius to 15. And it has about 30,000 runners, so it's a pretty decent sized marathon. It is very popular in Asia. But what I will say is it is not necessarily completely flat. Think of it more of a Boston-y, New York-y style course. 336 meters of elevation, which means it's not super hilly, but also means it's more undulating than it is flat. It is definitely a race I want to do, we want to do though, and we will do that soon. So Seoul Marathon is first up in March. Then on the 12th of April, and one I got a lot of heat for missing out in the last video, is Paris Marathon. So it is a massive marathon, by the way. First up, it is a huge marathon that has a huge amount of runners, about 55,000, getting up to like 60,000 in 2026. So it's enormous. And if you haven't been to Paris, you may not appreciate how unbelievably rich the culture is, how many things there are to see, even on the marathon course alone. Now, in my best French, I'm going to tell you some of the things that you can see along the Paris Marathon course. There's Le Tour Eiffel, which is the Eiffel Tower. There's the Arc de Triomphe, which is the Arc de Triomphe. There's the Louvre, which it has the Mona Lisa in it. There's Notre Dame, which is not called Notre Dame, by the way, Americans. There's the Place de la Concorde, Musée d'Orsay. There is so much to see on such a historic and huge marathon course. And here's some of the good stats that you've got for the Paris Marathon. Temperatures are pretty decent, 7 degrees to 15 degrees. That's where you want it to be, not too hot, although you can never guarantee it in April. It does have 270 meters of elevation, so it's by no means flat, but also by no means hilly. The words that Mary gave me when I asked that came to her mind were cobbles and croissants. So take that for what you will. And it's an 8 a.m. start, so that's pretty decent. I mean, I've been to Paris a good number of times. It's a lovely city. It's a beautiful city, and I would urge anyone to go and experience that culture and that vibe. It is a great place to see, and I can only imagine how great it would be running a marathon, which at some point we will definitely do. So I had to put Paris Marathon in there to basically stop getting any heat. I may be accused of being a bit biased on this one, but I'm putting it in there anyway for a number of reasons. Let me explain. In at 3 on the 3rd of May 2026 is the Flying Pig Marathon in Cincinnati. Now, first of all, amazing name. Second of all, if you don't know, if you don't realise, I am obsessed and always have been with the Cincinnati Bengals since NFL was on the TV in the UK in the 1980s. And I mean, who's not going to love a Tiger helmet? And we got to the Super Bowl around then, so I was in. So Cincinnati always holds a super special place in my heart, but they do have a marathon called the Flying Pig Marathon. In 2024, USA Today named it as the #1 marathon in the US. Opinion, of course, but the fact is it's scenic, it's fun, all of the pig memorabilia. I think Cincinnati has a long history of pork, basically. I won't go into it, but essentially that's the background. The crowds are crazy and fun, and it looks like it's great value. There's about 7,000 runners. Temperatures are about the same, 7 to 15 for that time of year. It is 300 meters of elevation, so it's not exactly flat, but again, it's not a punchy, hilly course. And the added bonus for this one is it's a 6:30 a.m. start. And I don't know about you, you might disagree, but I like starting marathons early so that they're done by you got the rest of the day. Even if you're 6 hours, if you're starting at 6:30, you'll finish by midday and you've got the rest of the day. So I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of Cincinnati. So I'm a big fan of the Flying Pig Marathon, and one day I will do it. I realise I keep forgetting to tell you Mary's one word or sentence to sum up that race. For the Flying Pig Marathon, it was, why not? That was all she had for me. But moving on, marathon number 4, and we're getting into the middle of the year now because it's actually winter in the Southern Hemisphere, and we're going to Surfers Paradise, the Gold Coast Marathon. So on the 5th of July is the Gold Coast Marathon, and it's seen as a kind of absolutely not the antidote to Sydney, but whilst Sydney is now a marathon major and Sydney is now extremely hard to get into and Sydney is quite a hilly course, the Gold Coast does hit 2 of those 3 things in terms of it's flat, it's the antidote there, and it's not a marathon major. However, the Gold Coast Marathon is still pretty difficult to get into, so I'll give it that. You might be watching this video now, it's already sold out. It might be one to consider for 2027, but what it is good vibes. I don't know if you've ever been to Surfers Paradise or even Australia. Great country, outdoorsy life, friendly, relaxed people. We love Australia. The Gold Coast guarantees pretty decent weather all year round, but in particularly for this race, it's about 8 to 19 degrees, so it can be quite warm towards the end, but it can be quite cold. It's 62 meters of elevation, so that is a flat, fast course. It's one to give it a really good go. It's a 6:15 a.m. start, and Mary's word for it was beach. Because I guess what she was trying to get at is you could go straight to the beach after the race. It is right on the beach. You're running along the coastline. Surfers Paradise, great little city, and 15,000 runners sign up for it. I suppose the only issue you have is, as I say, trying to get in. But one for the future, Gold Coast Marathon, absolutely up and coming. We're going to do it at some point soon.
Quick interjection, but if you want to have the best running year yet in 2026 and over any distance, then we would be honoured if you considered joining the best community out there, the Messap community. We've just started our marathon training class for spring 2026, so it's not too late, and we also have a membership option for all distances, and it's another layer of help for 2026. Come on, what are you waiting for?
Okay, 11th of October, the only race that I'm mentioning that's in the UK. I did think early season we could have done London, but London's a major. Manchester we did in the last video, Brighton, I wasn't sold. But what I do know is all of the positive feedback and reviews I've had from people that I know that have run Chester Marathon. Now Chester's up north in the UK, kind of near Manchester. It's very near where Mary grew up. It's a great little marathon, 10,000 runners, and in its first year in 2010, Runners World put it in the top 10 of marathons. So it is flat, it is fast. It's not flat, it's about 200 meters of elevation gain, and I think a lot of that comes at the end from what I hear. There's kind of a nasty little spiteful bit at 40 kilometers, but generally pretty flat. Temperatures, let's be honest, it's the UK, generally pretty alright, not going to be too hot. 9 to 15 degrees I think is pretty much the average temperatures for this time of year for that marathon. There's about 10,000 runners and you get to run in the countryside and the city of Chester. Lots of history there. And when I asked Mary for her word to sum up Chester Marathon, she said metric, which reminded me that they also run a metric marathon on the same day, which is that you can run 26.2 kilometers instead of the 26.2 miles if you want. So you've got two options there. I think that's pretty cool. That's something quite unique. And with a 9 AM start and it being much easier to get into than a lot of the bigger marathons, it's got to go on the list. If you're in the UK, it's absolutely worth checking out. And even if you're not in the UK. So we're going back to North America now, but we are not going to the US. We're going to Canada, and 1 week later, 18th of October, is the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. And once again, I've spoken to a lot of people that have run this. Very positive feedback. It has about 8,000 marathon runners, but there are half marathon runners over the weekend. You're running through the city and along Toronto waterfront. It is very scenic. It is very flat, so therefore it's very fast. It's like 138 meters of overall elevation gain, which is very, very similar to London. And when I ran London, it felt very flat. Of course, not the atmosphere. It starts at 8 AM. The atmosphere is almost certainly going to be great, but chill. You know Canadians. My experience of Canadians has always been pretty nice, pretty polite, pretty chill, like a nice vibe of a country to go to. We've been to Vancouver, but I've never been to Toronto. All of these marathons that I'm talking about, it's like, oh, I really want to go there. I wouldn't put them on the list if I didn't want to go there. So Toronto Waterfront is known for being flat, fast, nice, chill, well organized, all of those things, and that's our second North American marathon that we're putting into this list. Oh, by the way, and Mary's word was chill. Okay, in my last video we talked about Rotterdam Marathon and how it has the potential to be a very fast, very good marathon. It's where Kelvin Kipton had selected to try and go sub 2 before he sadly died. I'm not talking about Rotterdam this year. There is also a flat, fast marathon in Amsterdam. And the reason I bring that up is a lot of our membership community often run Amsterdam, speak extremely highly of it. As you'd expect, very fast, flat course, 100 meters of elevation. That's nothing over the course of a marathon. It has about 32,000 runners, so it's a big marathon. Temperatures are pretty decent, about 7 to 14 degrees Celsius on average. And it's, you know, it's a super popular marathon. A lot of people do it. The Netherlands in general, obviously known for being pretty much completely flat. So you know what you're going to get on that race. You get to run along the famous canals in Amsterdam. Amsterdam's a great city to see, by the way, as well. And it has the bonus of starting and finishing at the Olympic Stadium. So that's pretty cool in itself. Because when I asked Mary for some words to sum up the Amsterdam Marathon, she said two things actually. She said stadium finish, and then she said the words that we all probably want to hear, stroopwafel. And if you've never had a stroopwafel, you haven't lived, but you've got to try it. First of all, I don't know if you know this, but Dublin Marathon is actually the biggest marathon in the world. Because it keeps Dublin and Dublin and Dublin. Forget the dad jokes. Apologies. It's not actually the biggest in the world, but it's a pretty decent sized marathon. I think it has about 22,500 runners per year. You get to run along the Liffey, you get to see the sights of Dublin, like Dublin and Ireland in general, really great country, really great city to go to, so I would recommend. I've been a number of times. The temperatures are really decent, 12 to 14 degrees Celsius on average, and the elevation is about 200 meters, so it's pretty decent as well. It's not flat, but it's not even really undulating, it's a fast course. It's kind of an 8:40 to 9:40 start, but forget all of that. I mean, don't forget it, like just compartmentalize it in your mind. Here's why I think you would want to experience the Dublin Marathon. It's called the Friendly Marathon. The support on the course is exceptional. Really a lot of people out there, but also you do it for the crack. I don't know if you've ever been to Ireland, but they are a funny race of people. They're in it for the crack, for the banter. They love it. And you might want to go to Dublin to run the marathon, but you might want to stay there for the after party. Go and get a pint of Guinness in a pub. Get yourself to some of the, I'm not going to say Temple Bar. I know Irish people would hate it if I said Temple Bar. That's the kind of touristy place. But there are so many places to go and visit, to have fun. I feel the same way about the Scottish people, actually. My Scottish friends, they love it. They just love having fun, the banter, you know, like ripping each other apart, which is right up my alley as a sense of humour. So you don't just go to Dublin to run the marathon, you go there for the crack. And that was actually Mary's word to me, was crack, but I'm assuming she meant the crack rather than crack. Very different things. Okay, we're into November now, 8th of November to be precise, and I got a lot of heat when I missed this race out of the original list of 10, probably for good reason, because it is the original marathon, and that's the Athens Marathon in Greece. Now, if you don't know the backstory around it, first of all, where have you been? Have you been under a rock? But essentially, the marathon started when a soldier, sometimes called Phidippides, sometimes called Philippides, but he ran from Marathon to Athens to deliver the news of victory in battle, and then promptly died. So they decided, you know what would be a good idea? We'll make a ton of people run this distance by creating something we call the marathon, and it's been putting all of us through hell ever since, but we love it. And although they kind of think that maybe he ran 25 kilometers, maybe he ran 40 miles. The stories are a bit muddled. The idea remains that he ran from Marathon to Athens. It is the original. It's not a fast course, by the way. It's pretty grim. I think there's even about a 10-kilometer uphill grind during the marathon. So don't expect PBs, expect history, expect scenery. There's about 43,000 runners that attend, and it is 383 meters of elevation. So it's definitely on the punchier side. Temperatures can vary, but generally the average is 10 to 17 degrees Celsius. And you do get to finish in the Panathenaic Stadium, which was the original Olympics were held in that stadium, and that is pretty historical, pretty cool. So you don't necessarily go to Athens for a fast time, you go for the history, and that's why it's in the list, and also because of the amount of heat I got. And Mary's one word was historical. Okay, penultimate marathon, and one that is quite close to our hearts at the moment. That is the Shanghai Marathon in China. That'll be on the 29th of November 2026. Why is it special to us? We recently ran it, and Mary ran a huge PB. I had a really good day, but more than that, we loved the city of Shanghai. So this has got to go in there, because I'll tell you what, it's not going to be long before I think, in my opinion, this is going to be the 9th World Marathon Major. So get in there while you can before it really kicks off, because I'll tell you, it's a flat, fast course. The elevation gain is a mind-boggling 26 meters. Average temperatures for the race are 11 to 17, but in reality, it was a lot cooler than that when we first started, in a good way. 7 a.m. start, so nice and early, and really well organized. It was one of those races where everything came together. You need to watch the videos that we made about the experience to kind of learn about the internet and the sign-up process and some of the little tweaks that they're going to make in the future. But generally, we just really enjoyed Shanghai. We will 100% go back. It is definitely a PB course. It's a lovely course as well. And it's one that's only going to grow in popularity, I think, over the years. So the sooner you get in, the better. Just make sure you check out the visa situations and all of that, because it can be complicated depending on where you come from in the world. And Mary's one word was love, but I think that's because she just ran a banging new PB there. And finally, this might surprise you, it is a bit of a wild card, but I'm putting it in there because Valencia, as much as it's a great race, it's become one of those races that is increasingly more difficult to get into. And with that in mind, there is another race that has been billed and marketed as the kind of solution to Valencia. Another race that you can run fast, is in Spain, and that's Malaga Marathon. So Malaga is on the 13th of December. I believe it's the week after Valencia. Temperatures are really good at that time of the year in Spain. It's right on the southern coast. It's not a million miles from Seville. So if you've ever run Seville in February, similar type temperature and vibe. Really good marathon. It's 181 meters of elevation and there's about 12,000 runners over that weekend. So it's not a small race, but at the same time, it's not a huge race. And I think that's why it deserves to be put in here, because I believe if you're looking for a Spanish race and experience, an end of season, late season style one, and you can't get into Valencia, here you go, it's right there for you. So yeah, it is a bit of a wild card, but I think it's a really good wild card to have in there as an alternative late season race. I don't even think Mary gave me a word for this one. Okay, let me know how I did. What did I miss out? What did I get wrong? What do you think of my 10 choices? If you want the other 10 that I made the year before, still totally valid, all great races, then you need to watch this video, or you can watch this video of Mary smashing Shanghai. Make sure you get subscribed. We have got the biggest year in 2026 that we've ever had at This Messy Happy. We're so excited, and we're going to see a bunch of you out there in the world. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Video coming, it's a special one.